Local businessman Thomas Lyons pleaded guilty Monday in Bennington Criminal Court to 4 misdemeanor counts of soliciting prostitutes. He was sentenced to 4 years probation. Lyons admitted to posing on Facebook as a young African-American man when seeking out women. He was supported during the proceeding by his attorney, David F. Silver.
I think what we demonstrated here is I'm not going to argue with any of the comments that Mr. Silver made about Tom Lyons in this community as far as what he has contributed to the community over the years. That said, I think that this, as much as any case that I've seen, demonstrates that justice is blind, and it doesn't matter what your history is or what your contributions have been or who you are in the community. The bottom line is you don't know who you're talking to when you're on the internet and you're communicating with someone who's representing themselves as a 25-year-old. You could be talking to a middle-aged man who's pretending to be someone else. I think that, getting that information out there is important, and I think getting the type of rehabilitative sentence that we need is important. I think that it's been, this is not the kind of case that a sentence to serve would serve any purpose. And if he had a record, that would be different, but he doesn't. I do like, I appreciate the comments that that Judge Corsone's made about the fact that these were women that, regardless of their socioeconomic background and where they're coming from, a lot of these women, most of these women, were girls that had never engaged in this kind of behavior before. And so, I think that highlights, again, you don't know who you're talking to, but it also highlights the idea that there's been a lot of discussion around town of, this is not really an offense that involves victims, and it's not something that you would say that these girls are victims per se, but I believe Judge Corson is absolutely right, that this interaction and this exchange as a whole is going to affect these girls the rest of their lives. This is something that they not only were duped into believing, but it's something that they agreed to do that, A, they probably never thought anybody would find out about, let alone so publicly, but, B, they realized that it was something that it wasn't what they thought it was. So I find it interesting on a number of levels, because you also have the fact that the girls being of a certain socioeconomic status, it's not going to be the girls that are headed to college in the fall that are doing this. It's women, young women, that are in a situation that need money, that are already in a corner, maybe have kids, maybe are marginalized, maybe have been victimized multiple times over the course of their life already. And they are more receptive to the idea, but that doesn't make it right, and that doesn't make it any less of a crime. So those are all things that the Department of Corrections gets to consider at this point. I don't
answer why he did the things he did.
He's been through a nightmare. That's not to minimize his offense conduct, but the type of reporting that took place in the Bennington Banner, wild speculation, unfounded rumors about a prostitution ring, and it's a small town, and this has really deeply affected him and his family. He's been through hell. He recognizes that to some extent he brought it on himself. He's a mature man, and he's going to take his punishment like a man, like an adult. But I think that's all we need to say.
For the allegations of Jason Balsh setting these girls up with other gentlemen, where does that stand?
There were no other gentlemen. There were no other customers. There was nobody but Tom. It was like I said, it was a hoax that got out of control. But there was never a prostitution ring. There were never any other customers, and in fact, there was never any money involved from Tom's standpoint. And
except for him paying.
What happened was, I think it's important that these were adult women who, we're not trying to minimize it. We don't think it was a good thing to do. He's not proud of what he did, but he didn't force them, he didn't coerce them, he didn't threaten them. There was no deviant sexual behavior. These are misdemeanor, non-sex registry offenses. We think that's why they're appropriate. And that's all we're going to say about it.
So where does it stand with all the other people that Fouché listed? Is that just the other...
That had nothing to do with Tom. Nothing. I'm not going to speak about it.